Entertainment brands like Taste of Country, Pop Crush, and more. And when combined with our local brands, we can reach over 70% of consumers in our community. At Town Square, all this digital clout puts us in a unique position to help local businesses grow with powerful marketing solutions. In addition to local radio, we're experts at web design and SEO, plus targetable advertising solutions like streaming TV, addressable geofencing, YouTube, Snapchat, Facebook, Spotify, search engine marketing, and so much more. That may sound like a lot of buzzwords, but really all that matters is we can deliver a relevant and ideal target audience to your business with data-informed decisions. No guessing, no waste, and you gain a trusted marketing partner with Town Square Media.
Take your business to the next level. Call our Director of Sales, Jim McLean, today at 609-910-5247.
With all the sports we have, every time of the year is the best time of the year.
Step back, three-point shot in the air, bang, it's good. James Harden for three.
On 97.3 ESPN, WENJ, WENJ HD, Millville, Atlantic City, a Town Square media station. This is Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app. Now, live from the Matt Black Kia Studios.
What a move!
Here's Josh Hennig.
It is the Friday of 4th of July weekend. The good news is it's halfway through the summer, and the bad news is it's halfway through the summer season, depending on what perspective you have. If you love football, that means you're closer to football. If you love summer, you better start counting those weekends. You're going to run out of time. We got a lot to get to here on the show today. NBA offseason, just absolutely insane. Somehow the Phillies decided to score a ton of runs last night, and then they decided to put Mickey Moniak back in the lineup. Plus, UFC 276, the biggest card of the year so far. Not one, but two title fights on the main card. We will get to all of it today. Tim Finnegan from DraftKings is going to join me coming up in less than 20 minutes to dig deeper into UFC 276, give you guys some suggestions about if you want to make some wagers, how you're watching, what you should watch for, all that good stuff. You know I love my UFC. It's a huge card this weekend. It's not an accident the UFC decided to take advantage of a holiday weekend where the 4th of July lands on a Monday. Okay? It's not a coincidence. So, you can join the conversation, as always, as you listen to Game Night here on 97.3 ESPN FM. Text board is open at 609-403-0973. You can DM the show through the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of CLC. We'll get to latest NBA offseason news. Plus, we will get to the UFC stuff. But I also want to throw it out there for you guys. What are you doing this weekend? Let me know what you guys are up to this weekend for the holiday weekend. I made a comment to somebody earlier today. I said, when I used to live on the islands, because I used to live when I first moved from the Philadelphia area down to the Jersey Shore, it was Sea Isle City. And then for a while, I was living in Ocean State. Well, now I live on the mainland. And the theory this weekend was always you park your car and you don't move it. That was like the strategy for the weekend. So if you lived on the island, all of your plans were on the island, unless someone was coming and giving you a ride off the island. And so, but since I've moved off the islands, I don't live in Ocean City in Sea Isle anymore. My strategy has always been, for me at least, I don't go onto the islands the weekend of 4th of July, unless I, in reverse, get a ride on and off the island. So you guys let me know what you were up to this weekend, because I just basically gave you a hint of what I'm doing this weekend, which is I'm staying away from the insane traffic scenarios and situations and paying for parking or any of those things. I can enjoy my holiday weekend without having to venture. Look, I was in Sea Isle and Strathmere last weekend. I'm not afraid to go on the islands in general. I went into Sea Isle last weekend. I spent the day between the boardwalk and downtown, and then Strathmere, basically late afternoon into the evening. So, but this weekend, nah. So you guys let me know what you're up to this weekend. Text board is open 609-403-0973. DM the show through the 973 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle City. Speaking of the weekend, this news came out last night, basically after we were already off the air. But Woj basically reported last night when it came to the Sixers, because after the Sixers, they signed PJ Tucker, they signed Daniel House. Woj reported last night that James Harden and the 76ers are meeting this weekend to negotiate his new deal. That's what sources tell ESPN. And I already had like a mental visual that, this is going to be a bros weekend. This isn't going to be a pure Harden the Sixers meeting in the traditional sense. And here's why I say that. Daryl Morey and James Harden are close. Morey is the guy that believed in Harden when nobody else did. Morey is the guy that looked at James Harden and said, this guy can be my franchise star. One could argue that James Harden never becomes an NBA MVP or considered one of the greatest scorers of this generation if it wasn't for Daryl Morey making that trade with OKC to bring him in. So, with that being said, and with that being understood, there's a appreciation society going on between Harden and Morey. And James Harden also doesn't have an agent. Harden does his own negotiating. What he typically does, he gets a lawyer or somebody like a contract guy to basically do an evaluation of his contracts when he signs them. So he doesn't have to pay, agent fees all the time. Apparently, he's very comfortable doing it this way. Well, the guy who negotiated one of his previous deals with him was Daryl Morey. So to me, when Woj reports Harden and the 76ers are meeting over the weekend, to me, that translates completely differently than most of the world. Because to me, that sounds like basically the I Love You Man movie. It's James Harden and Daryl Morey having a boys' weekend, and somewhere along the way, they'll get around to discussing details of the contract. And I can totally see a scenario where, Harden shows up at Morey's house, or they, show up at the Shore house and they hang out for part of the day. Maybe they, have some real exclusive house with a big pool or something, having some drinks next to the pool, hanging out, chatting it up, talking about, man, can you believe Rudy Gobert just got traded to the Timberwolves? Man, can you believe Kevin Durant? And then Harden turns around and says, I got some stories about Kevin Durant for you. Wink, wink. Goes on to the night. Somewhere along the way, money gets discussed over the weekend. Maybe, Morey says, hey, I got to go spend time with the family. Harden says, I'm going to go enjoy the nightlife somewhere. I'll see you tomorrow. Josh Harris shows up the next day, the owner. Morey basically tells him, look, here's the numbers we're going to discuss. Harris basically gives him the thumbs up. They all chat it up. They have more drinks. And I feel like this is just a weekend. This is a bros weekend hangout for Harden and for Morey. And other Sixers organization people will probably make appearances throughout just to make it more official. But at the end of the day, Harden and Morey are buddies. This deal will get done. And it's going to be done in the most casual way possible. And there will probably be some consumption of some substances along the way, because at the end of the day, it's a holiday weekend, and I can totally see Harden not saying no to a drink being put in front of him, just understanding and knowing his personality. All right. It's very possible that the Harden deal gets done sometime between tomorrow night and Tuesday night. Now, will Kevin Durant be traded by then? I don't know. But I feel very confident saying that if Harden and the Sixers are meeting over the weekend, which I translates to Harden and Morey hangout bro session, mutual admiration society, telling stories, telling jokes, the deal is going to get done. You tell me what you guys think. I visualize it. I don't know. Mike Gill was trying to say earlier in the sports bash that, he envisioned all this happening in Ventnor and Atlantic City. And I told Mike, I think you're saying that because you're biased to Atlantic County. I'm saying it could happen in Cape May County. I mean, we both could be wrong. It could happen, in Delco for all we know. Maybe it happens down in, Lewes for all I know, Lewes, Delaware. And they point at the ferry and just laugh about it. I don't know. But the point is that I could totally see a scenario like this happening. And listen, maybe you guys too. Maybe you guys can see it too. Let me know. You see Daryl Morey and James Harden walking down that 1.5 mile stretch of the Avalon boardwalk, or, going out for pizza on the Ocean City boardwalk, or, maybe grabbing a private room section at an establishment in Sea Isle or Avalon or Stern Harbor. Let me know. 609-403-0973 is a text board where you can join the conversation. You can DM the show through the 973 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City. I will get to the Phillies for a moment here because Phillies game just started. Bradley Falter is pitching. And, I don't understand why Moniak is playing again tonight. It has become the greatest embarrassment in all of Philadelphia sports right now that Mickey Moniak is the center fielder for the Phillies. And I don't want to hear about how, we got to give him more time. I don't want to hear about, you got to be patient with these guys. You can't tell me with a straight face that Mickey Moniak needs time to develop. It's the most ridiculous thing I've heard. I just don't have the time or the patience for that kind of lunacy. You're probably going to sell me a tinfoil hat and some conspiracy theory along the way as well, while you tell me that Moniak still got time to develop. Matt Vierling has more home runs this year, 3, than Mickey Moniak has RBI, 1. Yeah, Mickey Moniak is showcased himself as a guy who can't play at the major league level. This is the guy who had 271 RBI in 521 games in the minors. He has 4 RBI in 41 major league games combined. This guy isn't just a bust. He is a waste of time. And I will not be patient with him. I will not wait for him to turn around. And I don't know if he's got blackmail in this organization. I don't know if they feel bad for him. I don't know what it is. But there's no reason why Mickey Moniak should be in center field instead of Odubel Herrera, who also has more home runs than Moniak is RBI this year, or Mercado, who they acquired off of waivers, and then they sent him down in the minors. Why? There is nothing about Mickey Moniak's skill set, abilities, potential, talent, or anything that justifies himself being in center field, except for something that none of us know about. I don't see a scenario where Mickey Moniak should ever be the Phillies' starting center fielder, ever. In any scenario, in any alternate reality of some multiverse of madness like Doctor Strange movie, I don't care if it's alternate reality that Mickey Moniak is the legend of all legends of Philly center fielders. In this reality, in this world, in the baseball that I see played, he should not be in a Phillies pinstripe uniform ever. But for some reason, Rob Thompson and the Phillies organization wants to keep shoving him down your throat. Is it not a coincidence? Or maybe it is. Maybe I'm just completely delusional. But is it really just a coincidence that the Phillies had 2 games where they struggled to score? Mickey Moniak's in the lineup. They take him out of the lineup and they score 14 runs. 4 runs in 2 games, 14 runs last night. But I'm supposed to believe that against arguably the best pitcher in a Cardinals uniform, McCullers, that Mickey Moniak is going to break out of this streak. You need to cool off by taking a long walk on a short pier, buddy. Mickey Moniak. Organization's embarrassing itself right now. I also love me some UFC 276. We'll get to that as well. Coming up next with Tim Finnegan from DraftKings. Plus, you guys keep chiming in. Text board is open, 609-403-0973. I already see one message with the crying emojis, Moniak, comma, why? Hey, man, I'm with you. It's bad. It's real bad. But we'll try to cheer you up with some UFC 276 picks on the other side. More text later in the show, 609-403-0973. And you can DM the show to the 973 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle City.
This weekend on ESPN Radio.
That's a 3-run home run for Paul Goldschmidt.
Paul Goldschmidt leads the St. Louis Cardinals into a 7-game NL East road trip that starts in Philadelphia against the Phillies.
Fly ball, left field, and gone. Opposite field home run, Kyle Schwarber.
The Cardinals and Phillies. Coverage begins tomorrow at 3:30 Eastern and Sunday at 6 Eastern. Listen to Major League Baseball on 97.3 ESPN.
Alert! We're under construction at Sport Hyundai in Egg Harbor. It's time to make room for our new and improved facility, and you're the big winner. We're clearing out inventory with our incredible construction reduction sale. New Santa Fe's, Tucson's, and more in stock and priced to move today. With Hyundai Assurance and America's best warranty, including the 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Use our main entrance on Black Horse Pike. Construction reduction deals are once in a lifetime, and this inventory won't last. See for yourself in person or at sporthyundai.com.
Make your 4th of July celebration even bigger this year with savings on everything you need to get your yard ready for summer. Make sure your flower beds and bushes can handle the heat with special savings on Vigoro mulch, now at a new lower price of $2.98 a bag. Keep the sun off your soil and water in the ground. Plus, add a fun pop of color that will last up to 12 months. So hurry in and get your yard ready for celebrating in the sun. Feels like 4th of July at the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Available in-store and online. Color selection varies by store.
Don't miss Chris Pratt in the terminal list.
Lieutenant Commander James Reese, can you outline the details of your mission?
It was a setup. They knew we were coming.
Nothing in this file adds up.
From Antoine Fuqua, Director of Training Day.
Answers or blood? Blood. Stay off my list.
The Terminal List. New series, now streaming on Prime Video.
Do you struggle with occasional nerve aches in your hands or feet? Try Nervive Nerve Relief from the world's #1 nerve care company. Nervive tablets contain alpha-lipoic acid to relieve nerve aches, weakness, and discomfort, plus B-complex vitamins to support healthy nerve function as you age. Live life with less nerve discomfort with Nervive Nerve Relief. Learn more at nervivehealth.com. And try Nervive Pain Relieving Cream to block nerve pain signals at the source. Use as directed.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. Dashboard light problems? We can help. Our free Fix Finder service can read your check engine light, ABS light, and service indicator light, and give you possible solutions, verified by licensed technicians. You'll even get detailed results sent straight to your email so you have them when you need it most. It's the most complete free warning light report backed by technician-verified fixes. The free Fix Finder service, only at AutoZone.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
More details at AutoZone.com.
I'll ring you up in a second. Kim, can you see if we have more acid wash?
Desmona's Thrift Store is the spot for killer vintage finds.
Oh, that looks fabulous on you. Hey, can you do the register?
But her sales clerk situation feels pretty threadbare.
Oh, yeah, let me clear out that fitting room.
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed, you do. We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Earn up to $500 in sponsored job credits by conducting interviews on Indeed. Visit Indeed.com/credit. Terms and conditions apply.
We're Town Square Media, and along with the awesome radio station you're listening to right now, we're publishers of best-in-class national entertainment brands like Taste of Country, Pop Crush, and more. And when combined with our local brands, we can reach over 70% of consumers in our community. At Town Square, all this digital clout puts us in a unique position to help local businesses grow with powerful marketing solutions. In addition to local radio, we're experts at web design and SEO, plus targetable advertising solutions like streaming TV, addressable geofencing, YouTube, Snapchat, Facebook, Spotify, search engine marketing, and so much more. That may sound like a lot of buzzwords, but really all that matters is we can deliver a relevant and ideal target audience to your business with data-informed decisions. No guessing, no waste, and you gain a trusted marketing partner with Town Square Media.
Take your business to the next level. Call our Director of Sales, Jim McLean, today at 609-910-5247.
You're listening to Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
Game Night being brought to you by the Atlantic City International Airport and American Airlines. ACY now has your nonstop ticket to over 90 domestic international destinations. Book your next trip today at AA.com. Josh Hennig hanging out with you here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. Glad to have you guys on board the show today. On the text board in just a moment, 609-403-0973. Also DMs through the 973 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of CLC. Johnny G checks in. Says, hey, Josh, Mickey Moniak stinks just because he was number one pick for the Phillies. Phillies have to do better. Stuck in a jam-packed Ocean City this weekend with bikers, walkers, and bad drivers. But I'll be hanging at the beach. See, Johnny G gets it. Johnny G understands that when you're on the island, you don't leave the island. He also understands that Mickey Moniak sticks. We'll get to the UFC 276 now. Not one, but two title fights on tap tomorrow night on that ESPN Plus pay-per-view offering. And joining us right now from DraftKings, talk more about Tim Finnegan joins us here on 97.3 ESPN. Tim, glad to have you on the show. How you doing today?
Hey, Josh. Good to meet you, man. I'm hanging in there.
This is a big, big card tomorrow, Tim. I mean, it is not just because of the two title fights. It's because it feels like every fight has significance tomorrow night. And I feel like the UFC planned this well. They say, look, July 4th is a holiday on Monday. So you got a 3-day weekend. People can fit in their UFC and all their other activities this weekend.
Yeah, so it's actually International Fight Week out in Vegas this week. So it's like one of the biggest events of the year. This and New Year's. The UFC has their Hall of Fame induction ceremony where last night Daniel Cormier and Khabib and a few other people got inducted into the Hall of Fame ceremony. So they really try to stack this 4th of July card with like big title fights that'll get a lot of attention because it is International Fight Week in Vegas. So that's part of the reason why we've got such a stacked card.
Let's start with the main event. The defending champ Israel Adesanya taking on Jared Cannonier. My perspective is this going into this fight. It's not that I don't think Cannonier has a chance, but Tim, I'm not sure that Cannonier offers Adesanya what it takes to challenge him, because I feel like when we saw him use the Jan Blachowicz previously, Blachowicz took him down, grinded him out. And I don't know if Cannonier is going to be able to get Adesanya on the ground consistently.
Yeah, Josh, I agree with you 100%. Like we saw, like you said, the path to beat Adesanya is exactly what Jan Blachowicz did. It's takedowns and top control because Adesanya is not that good off his back. He's really not. But at middleweight, nobody's been able to really hold him down. Like he's been taken down 4 times in each of his last 2 fights by Marvin Vettori and Rob Whitaker. But they couldn't hold him down. He was able to get back to his feet. And I don't see how Cannonier, he doesn't have the wrestling background to hold Adesanya down. He's only averaging 0.23 takedowns per 15 minutes. That's really low. And he just doesn't have that amateur wrestling background to hold Adesanya down and punish him on the ground. So I think this is going to be a striking match because like I said, Adesanya is going to get to his feet, and Cannonier is going to be badly outmatched on the feet because Adesanya is one of the best strikers in the sport. So I'm with you there 100%.
One of the things I keep seeing debated on different shows is this fight going the distance or not? And I know that, for a lot of people, they're looking at DraftKings Sportsbook and seeing what the odds are. And the odds, they're really not that different between over 4.5 and under 4.5 on the total round. So do you feel like this is a fight that goes the distance, or is this a fight that could be finished in the third or fourth round?
I actually think so. Adesanya to win on DraftKings Sportsbook by TKO is plus 165 by knockout or technical knockout. I think that's a pretty good bet because you're getting plus money. And Cannonier has been knocked out, I think, twice in the UFC. And in his last fight against Derek Brunson, he got dropped. And Derek Brunson has heavy hands, but Derek Brunson's a wrestler. So, if he's been knocked out twice and he's been dropped recently, Adesanya, I think, has an excellent chance to finish him with strikes. So at plus 165 on DraftKings Sportsbook, that's a bet I'd look to make. Adesanya by KO or TKO.
Yeah, Cannonier lost by TKO. I believe it was the Dominic Reyes a few years
That's
ago.
right. Yeah, Reyes finished him. Yep.
Yeah. Now, of course, Reyes was also on that streak where it felt like he was just knocking everybody's head off. But, that's a different conversation for another day. Here's my other question with Adesanya. What's next for him then? Because this is a guy, he tried to go to 205, didn't work out. And now if he beats Cannonier, it's like, all right, like there's no, I don't see it. I know Sean Strickland was trying to, get some beef with him at the press conference. What was it, Tuesday or Wednesday? They had that strange back and forth that honestly was kind of cringeworthy watching it. But what is next for Adesanya? Because he's obviously the king at middleweight, and I don't know if 205 is an option for him.
Yeah, so you brought up Sean Strickland, and it really seems like Strickland is really trying to market that fight because I think he sees dollar signs. If he can get past Alex Pereira, he's trying to position himself to fight Adesanya next. He's really trying to get under his skin. I don't know if you heard some of his quotes this week. They're kind of out there. He was really, really going after Adesanya on a lot of stuff. So I think the winner of the Strickland-Pereira fight is probably going to be next in line. And Alex Pereira, he's got an interesting storyline because he beat Adesanya twice in kickboxing. So they have a little bit of a rivalry from kickboxing. And he's an incredible striker. So he can really he's going to make Adesanya have to change his game plan. Because if Adesanya is just going to stand there and strike with Pereira, that's, he might have to use a little bit more grappling than he normally does. So that fight to me would be really interesting. So I'm thinking the winner of this Strickland-Pereira fight will fight Adesanya next.
Tim Finnegan from DraftKings joining us here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN FM and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle City. UFC 276 pay-per-view ESPN Plus tomorrow night. Co-main event, it's probably the most unlikely trilogy. If you would have asked me back in 2018 if Volkanovski and Holloway would have a trilogy, I'd probably look at had three heads. But after the second fight was a split decision and the first fight was only a decision, it seems like this was the only fight left for Volkanovski.
Yeah, Holloway and Volkanovski, they're just head and shoulders better than the rest of the featherweight division at this point. And their fights have been pretty competitive. Like Volkanovski's been a little bit more well-rounded in these fights where he's had a better kicking game. He's with City Kickboxing. He's just done a little bit better job with the well-rounded package. And I think that's going to be the edge for him in this fight. I think Holloway is really going to have to go for broke in this fight because his first two fights, if you look at the striking metrics on Holloway, his striking metrics, the last two fights against Calvin Kattar and Yair Rodriguez, he's thrown so much striking volume. It's almost double what he threw in the first two Volkanovski fights. So I think for Holloway, he's probably going to have to adjust his game plan and be like, hey, I'm just going to go for broke. So Holloway's a great boxer. He's just going to have to really come after him because if he just does what he did in the first two fights, I think Volkanovski is just a little bit too well-rounded. So, but this should be a great fight. I'm really looking forward to this fight. I don't know. What do you think, Josh?
Well, I was just going to say, you're talking about a Max Holloway that goes after it. So to me, that sounds like you're saying that you think this fight might not go the distance like the previous two.
Well, so Holloway and Volkanovski, 10 of their last 11 fights have gone the distance. Like, both these guys, they're not really big finishers, and they're both so tough. These are two of the toughest guys you'll ever see. Like, Holloway just eats punches like it's nothing. Like, his jaw is just iron. And Volkanovski, his background was in rugby, where he was like an undersized rugby player. So he's really tough. Both of these guys are so tough to finish. I do think this fight will go to decision, just because these guys are just so hard to finish, and neither of them are really big finishers. But I could see Holloway really amping up the striking volume in this fight, where he's just gonna like I think he has to. I think that's his best way to win, because if he's just gonna sit back and do what he did the last two fights, I think he's just gonna get outpointed.
So let's say Volkanovski wins the fight, just for scenario's sake. What's left for him? I mean, does he go to 155? Does he stay at 145? I mean, personally, I would love to see him move up to 155 and see what happens.
Yeah, so Volkanovski used to fight at heavier weight classes earlier in his career. I think so. Brian Ortega is fighting Yair Rodriguez in July. That's coming up in Long Island. I think it's in 2 weeks. The winner of that fight could, because the first fight, Ortega and Volkanovski, that was a great fight. Like, I know Ortega got lit up on the feet, but he almost won that fight twice. He had Volkanovski in a mounted guillotine. And I thought, I was actually in Vegas for that fight. I was there live, and I thought the fight was over. I thought when he had that mounted guillotine, I thought this is going to be a wrap, because it was the fourth round. By the time you get to the fourth round, you're tired. It's hard to breathe. When you have somebody mounted on you, just trying to choke you, I was amazed he got out of that. And then later in that round, Ortega threw up a triangle choke. And it wasn't really that tight, but it was enough to really threaten him. And Volkanovski still got out of the triangle choke. So I think that's a rematch we could see, because that was a great fight. And Josh Emmett just beat Calvin Kattar a few weeks ago. So Josh Emmett could be in line too for, that would be an interesting fight, him and Volkanovski. So I think those are the next two fights that could potentially happen.
What's more likely to happen in your mind? Is it both champs winning tomorrow night, or is it one of the challengers getting the upset?
Oh, man. I think it's more likely that both champs win. I don't see any way Adesanya is going to lose. Like obviously it's MMA and anything can happen. Like it's tiny 4-ounce gloves. There's always a puncher's chance. If Adesanya just gets a little bit, like we saw, like with Anderson Silva and Chris Weidman a few years ago, where Anderson Silva got a little bit lazy with his feinting and he didn't manage his distance right and he got clipped. Like, that's the only way I could see Adesanya losing, if he just gets a little bit lazy managing his distance and he gets caught. But if Adesanya really focuses and fights to his ability, I don't see any way he loses this fight. And then so the Volkanovski Holloway fight, Holloway definitely has a chance. Holloway is an amazing fighter. He's super tough. We've seen some weird judges scores lately. Where some of the fights they go to decision. We're like, oh, what was this judge looking at? So I think that could maybe be a way where Holloway wins, where this fight goes to decision and he just wins a judge's decision that's kind of close. That's kind of 50-50. So yeah, I would say it's more likely that both favorites win.
We're talking about UFC 276 tomorrow night. 2 title fights on the card. Adesanya, Cannonier, Volkanovski, Holloway, 3. But there are other fighters that are very interesting on this card. Talking with Tim Finnegan from DraftKings here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. 3 UFC legends are all on the same card. Robbie Lawler, and then you have Miller and Cerrone going at it at 170. What are your thoughts on the 3 UFC legends all on the same card tomorrow night?
So Jim Miller and Donald Cerrone fought a while ago. I was actually at that fight. It was in Atlantic City, which is kind of in your backyard. It was at I forget which casino it was at, but it was in Atlantic.
So it was at what is currently Ocean Resort, but used to be called Revel Casino.
That's right. Okay, it was at Revel. Yeah. So I was there. I'm from New Jersey. I'm from the Jersey Shore. So went down for that fight, and and Cerrone head kicked Miller because Cerrone's got a length advantage. He's taller. He's got long legs, and he set up a head kick and he knocked Miller out. But that was 8 years ago, and Cerrone is just way past his prime at this point. Like even in Cerrone's prime, he was kind of famous for always fighting. He was fighting every 2 or 3 months. Sometimes he would fight twice a month. Right. And I think he's just got so much mileage, and that's just really caught up with him. he hasn't won a fight in a while. He hasn't really looked that good. And Jim Miller is still game. Like Jim Miller, he's past his prime as well. But I think Miller has more left in the tank than Cerrone does. So I think Miller will probably win this rematch. I could be wrong, but I'm going to go with Jim Miller in this fight.
I was covering that Cerrone Miller fight for my previous radio job, and I remember after the fight, we're in the press room, and Cerrone walks in and says, "Anyone want to come with me? I'm buying beers for everybody tonight." Like he was so jacked up after beating Jim Miller. But it's funny you mentioned about Cerrone because I feel like he's changed. He's kind of lost some of that mental edge. Like I know he's physically lost fights, but doesn't it also seem like that he's maybe lost some of that mental edge as well?
Yeah, like you said, like we were talking about before, his fight mileage is just crazy because even at his peak, he was always fighting. Where he used to make jokes for like, oh, I like to spend money, I like to buy things, so I always like to fight, and everybody gets burnt out if you do something for a really long time and you go at a heavy pace and you give everything you have. I just think he's at the end of the road, and I really don't think he has much left in the tank. I really don't.
And then what are your thoughts on Lawler's fight on the main card? There's a lot of people who are going out there suggesting that people take Lawler money line. Well, at DraftKings it's -125, Tim, and I'm not a big believer in taking minus bets. You got to find. I'm a big believer in value betting. If you're gonna place a bet, you want to win something legitimate off. You don't just throw money for the sake of throwing money on something.
So Robbie Lawler, he still has gas left in the tank. Like we saw that in his last fight against Nick Diaz, where he looked good in that fight. And if you look, if you look at his strength of schedule, like he had a few losses in a row, but it was to Colby Covington, it was to Neil Magny, it was to RDA, right. It was in a title fight against Tyron Woodley. So his last 4 losses have been against good competition. And so Barberena, like this is a step down in competition for Lawler compared to what he's fought recently. So I agree with that line. I think he should be the favorite. I do favor Robbie to win. But yeah, like betting -125 on Lawler, like I'm with you. I'm not crazy about that money line bet, but maybe you could put that as part of a parlay. Maybe you could parlay that with Izzy or something to just get Izzy's money line down a little bit. But yeah, I think Lawler still has gas left in the tank. I like him to win this fight.
I'm looking right now on the DraftKings Sportsbook. If you were to parlay Adesanya and Lawler to win money line, it parlays to a 2-legger of +117. So at least then you're getting value out of that bet there. So one more fight I want to ask you about before I let you go, Tim Finnegan from DraftKings, talking about UFC 276 tomorrow night. I feel like anytime Sean O'Malley's on a card, he has the chance to be fight of the night. But this is a little different. Doesn't it have a different feel? Because now he's fighting a guy in Pedro Munoz who has fought for a title.
Yeah, so I pulled up the stats for this fight. O'Malley has the best striking differential among all active UFC fighters. He's landing 5 more strikes per minute than he has absorbed. Like, that's really impressive. He's landing the most significant strikes per minute of any UFC fighter. It's over 8 per minute. Like, that's massive. And Pedro Munoz absorbs a lot of strikes. He's absorbing over 6 significant strikes per minute. And O'Malley's going to take a 7-inch reach advantage into this fight. So I think O'Malley's just going to position himself right out of that, outside of Munoz's range. So if he does get hit, it's at the very end of the strikes. It's not going to have a lot of power. I think he's just going to pick him apart with volume striking from distance. Munoz is really tough. He's never lost a fight by finish. All of his losses are by decision. And this fight is only 3 rounds. So I think O'Malley's just going to pick him apart from distance and win a decision. I think on DraftKings Sportsbook, O'Malley to win by decision is plus. It's plus money. I want to say it's like plus 170. I can double check that, but it's plus money. That's a bet that I like. O'Malley by decision.
O'Malley by decision is currently plus 150 over at the DraftKings Sportsbook. So, it said that maybe you mentioned strength of schedule in the Lawler earlier. Munoz has kind of the same thing, doesn't he? Like, he's lost to Dominic Cruz, Jose Aldo, Frankie Edgar, Aljamain Sterling. Well, all those guys have had belts at some point or another. So it's not like Aldo is losing to like chumps.
You're 100% correct. And that's definitely skewed his stats because if you're fighting like if you're fighting way better competition than anybody else in UFC, your stats are probably not going to look as good. But I'm really high on O'Malley. I think he's a really good striker. He's a diverse striker. He does a lot of feints. He's so much longer. I think that length advantage is going to be the big difference in this fight because he has a 7-inch reach advantage. Like that's huge. That's like Izzy, where Izzy has like a 7-inch reach advantage over almost everybody he fights at middleweight. And that's so important because that allows you to position yourself outside of your opponent's striking range. And so if you do get hit, it's at the very end of the strike, or it's a lot easier to evade punches. It's a lot easier to throw kicks too, because you're standing further than your opponent is. So I think that reach is really going to be huge for him in this fight.
He's Tim Finnegan with DraftKings. You can follow him on Twitter at TimFin521. He also covers baseball for DraftKings. Don't hold the fact that he's a Mets fan against him. He does a good job over there with DraftKings. Tim, appreciate you jumping on. Enjoy the fights tomorrow night.
Thanks, Josh. It's great talking to you, man.
Josh Hennig here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN FM and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Seattle City. We'll check back in with you guys on the other side. Johnny G chimed in. I want to hear what the rest of you guys have to say over on the text board at 609-403-0973 is the text board. And the DMs are open if you're listening on the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Seattle City.
Saturday morning in the locker room with Billy Schwein, 3-time All-Big Ten linebacker. And Brad Quast joins me in the studio. The sportsbook consigliere Dave Sherapan checks in from Vegas with his picks in Major League Baseball. Hour 2, it's the Beach Patrol Report, brought to you by the Groundhogs Moving Company. This week, we'll focus on the Seattle City Beach Patrol and talk with former Seattle City lifeguard Jimmy Farley and last year's South Jersey lifeguard champion of the singles row, Danny Rogers. All that and more. It's the locker room with Billy Schwein, Saturday morning from 10 a.m. to noon on 97.3 ESPN.
We're Town Square Media, and along with the awesome radio station you're listening to right now, we're publishers of best-in-class national entertainment brands like Taste of Country, Pop Crush, and more. And when combined with our local brands, we can reach over 70% of consumers in our community. At Town Square, all this digital clout puts us in a unique position to help local businesses grow with powerful marketing solutions. In addition to local radio, we're experts at web design and SEO, plus targetable advertising solutions like streaming TV, addressable geofencing, YouTube, Snapchat, Facebook, Spotify, search engine marketing, and so much more. That may sound like a lot of buzzwords, but really all that matters is we can deliver a relevant and ideal target audience to your business with data-informed decisions. No guessing, no waste, and you gain a trusted marketing partner with Town Square Media.
Take your business to the next level. Call our Director of Sales, Jim McLean, today at 609-910-5247.
No matter the make, no matter the mileage, Matt Blatt Kia wants your vehicle today. We need to replenish our inventory, so we need your vehicle, no matter the situation, even if you don't buy a car from us. But why wouldn't you buy a new vehicle? Because if you have a job and clear $350 per week, Matt Blatt Kia wants to approve you today.
It's gotta be a Matt Blatt Kia.
On approved credit, go to mattblattkianj.com for complete details. Matt Blatt Kia, 6211 Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township, and now on Route 37 in Toms River.
Dell's Black Friday and July sale is here. Power productivity with a tech refresh, now with up to 45% off top-rated laptops like the XPS, along with our special deals on business desktops with Intel Core processors. Get big savings on the latest servers, storage, monitors, and more with free shipping and special financing with Dell Business Credit. Upgrade today by calling 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
Did you book the Townsend's 10th anniversary tickets?
Alona's travel agency is overbooked and experiencing delays. She needs to land a new project manager to clear her business's runways.
Yes, Mrs. O'Hara, we checked. Pygmy goats do not count as emotional support animals.
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Earn up to $500 in sponsored job credits by interviewing on Indeed. Visit Indeed.com/credit. Terms and conditions apply.
If you have a small business, let Staples be your shipping partner.
I'm generating orders 24/7. I don't have time to ship them too.
Staples has it covered.
A one-stop shipping solution for a business that works nonstop.
Shipping materials that aren't one size fits all.
Staples has your shipping covered with packing and shipping supplies and services. And this week, get 20% off UPS Express shipping services. If you need to ship, ship at Staples, the working and learning store. N72. Visit staplesconnect.com/shipping for details.
You finally got that new car, so you called your insurance company.
Your call is important to us. Please hold.
We are the tippy top, we're top insurance.
You ended that call with their jingle stuck in your head. Then you called NJM.
Thanks for calling NJM Insurance. This is Claudia. Let's see if we can save you up to 25% on your auto insurance.
No jingles or mascots, just great insurance. Visit NJM.com for a quote.
Don't miss Chris Pratt in the terminal list.
Lieutenant Commander James Reese, can you outline the details of your mission?
It was a setup. They knew we were coming.
Nothing in this file adds up.
From Antoine Fuqua, Director of Training Day.
Answers or blood? Blood. Stay off my list.
The Terminal List. New series, now streaming on Prime Video.
Make your garden twice as big this summer and get twice the harvest. Right now, get 2 Bonnie Plants 2.32 quart vegetable and herb plants for only $10. Their ready-to-grow starter plants make growing vegetables and herbs at home easier than ever before. Make your garden twice as big this summer and enjoy homegrown fresh vegetables and herbs with Bonnie Plants, 2 for just $10. Feels like 4th of July savings at the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Selection varies by store, in-store only, not available offshore or Alaska.
Have you ever noticed that when the afternoon light hits your floors, you can see everything, including dust?
So much dust.
And that floor dust gets kicked up into the air, compromising the quality of air you and your family breathe.
Eesh.
Swiffer Heavy Duty Sweeper is the fast and easy way to clean your floors with ultra-thick pads that trap and lock dust before it gets in the air. Just a couple minutes a day,
And dust is gone.
Swiffer Heavy Duty Sweeper. Proud partner of the American Lung Association.
Alert! We're under construction at Sport Hyundai in Egg Harbor. It's time to make room for our new and improved facility. And you're the big winner. We're clearing out inventory with our incredible construction reduction sale. New Santa Fe's, Tucson's, and more in stock and priced to move today. With Hyundai Assurance and America's best warranty, including the 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Use our main entrance on Black Horse Pike. Construction reduction deals are once in a lifetime, and this inventory won't last. See for yourself in person or at sporthyundai.com.
Now, more Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
Josh Hennig here on 97.3 ESPN FM. Phillies are down 1-0 right now to the Cardinals after 2 innings of play. Mike McCullough continues to be a really good pitcher. He's probably going to be in the All-Star game. I don't know if he's going to be the All-Star starter, but I pretty feel confident he'll be in the All-Star game representing the Arizona Cardinals. That's how good he's been this year. Obviously, the Phillies losing because Mickey Moniak's in the lineup. I kid. Before we get back to you guys, thoughts, comments, text board is open, 609-403-0973. And you can DM the show through 973 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle City. Just to recap some of the talking about with Tim Finnegan there from DraftKings. I thought he made a great point about, Volkanovski and Holloway. These are two guys that typically go the distance, right? This is not typically two guys who finish fights. So, if you take that into play, and if you think that Adesanya is going to win his fight, if you're just looking for a straightforward parlay, I think probably one of the safest moves to make is if you were to take, we mentioned it earlier, Robbie Lawler and Adesanya, combine that with a money line, and take Volkanovski Holloway to finish by decision, that's plus 250. And for those, who don't want to do any math off the top of the head right now, a $10 wager is going to bring you back over $30. So I think that's probably the best way to go with the fights tomorrow night. If you're going to jump on the DraftKings Sportsbook. Now, here's my takeaways from the fight card as well. I think that Adesanya needs to finish clearing out the 185-pound division before he fights anybody else. And I thought Tim brought up a great point about the fact that there are guys lower in the rankings behind Adesanya that realistically are still great challenges for him and present some interesting scenarios. He mentioned Alex Pereira and Adesanya's history where Pereira beat him in kickboxing matches. Obviously mixed martial arts is a different animal, but the concept is still the same. I think that the Sean Strickland trying to, try to make something up, generate some interest. I thought, like I said earlier, it was cringeworthy. I'm not a huge fan of a Strickland Adesanya fight because I think Strickland's style of fighting is not what needs to beat Adesanya. The problem is that almost everyone who has the skill set to beat Adesanya at 185, he's either already beaten them or they're just nowhere in sight to be a guy. Look, Alex Pereira is fighting Sean Strickland. Sean Strickland is the number 4 ranked fighter at 185. Pereira is not even ranked. So that's a problem. Chris Weidman is arguably one of the best wrestlers at 185. He's not even in the top 10 rankings at this point in time. He's nowhere near a title shot. Derek Brunson has floated out there the idea of him retiring from MMA altogether. And Marvin Vettori is the only guy who's really pushed Adesanya at this point. So 185 is a very messy situation. Whereas 145, where Volkanovski and Holloway 2 is being fought at, there's a lot more interest in the future. I don't agree with Finnegan 100%. I thought that the Ortega-Volkanovski fight, Volkanovski clearly won that fight. I think Ortega had moments. I agree about that. But I think Ortega, if he shows that he has grown and evolved as a fighter, I'll buy into that. And he can show that against Yair Rodriguez. But for me, I don't think Rodriguez brings anything to the table that beats Volkanovski per se. I think Ortega has the mindset to beat Volkanovski, but I don't know if he has the skill set per se. Now, maybe between now and then, he has grown from the last time they fought the next one. I think Josh Emmett is going to get exposed by somebody at some point. I know the guy is on a stupid hot streak right now. And I know he's become a very popular fighter. He only has 2 losses in an entire MMA career. Look, I get it. The guy has had an incredible run. I mean, he's beaten all kinds of guys at that weight class. But here's my problem with Josh Emmett. He's not dominating. He beat Dan Ige by decision in a fight that Ige had opportunities to take advantage of them. He won a split decision against Calvin Kattar in a fight that Kattar, I think, made 2 major mistakes in, and that's why Emmett won. I think that as Emmett keeps climbing the ranks of the guys in this division, he's going to get exposed, and I think he's going to get beat. I don't think he's the future of that division at all. Personally, I would like to see Emmett and Kattar run it back to see who's really legit. Or tell Emmett to fight the Korean Zombie, Chong Sung-young. Let's see how he does against someone like that. That's how I look at those, so the results of some of those fights tomorrow night. All right, back to the text board, 609-403-0973. I mentioned earlier that I think that James Harden and Daryl Morey are going to have a nice weekend for the holidays this weekend, having a bros weekend, hanging out, and they'll eventually get around to the contract talk. Texter says, LOL, Josh, you got it all down to the wire. I think that's exactly how it's going to happen with Harden and the Sixers this weekend. Listen, man, they meet up at the airport because, Harden and Morey have done that before. We have picture evidence of that. They jump in a vehicle. I'm not going to say it's a limo per se. Maybe it could be anything, Maybe Morey and Harden like to drive. I'm not going to begrudge them for that. Maybe they have their own drivers, but they head down to the shore, let's say, at a big house that has a pool on a massive property with tons of rooms, hang out by the pool all day, tell stories about how Kevin Durant is ridiculous for wanting to be traded from the Nets. Harden gives a story. Morey gives a story. Good time. Eventually the conversation gets around to them maybe joking about the Timberwolves getting up all those players traded for Rudy Gobert. And then eventually they get around to contract talk because they realize that Malcolm Brogdon is now with the Celtics and the Sixers have got to think about the future moving forward. Start discussing numbers. Morey tells Josh Harris that he's got it on a napkin in front of him that, Harden's going to agree to this amount of money. Josh Harris kind of cringes over the idea, but agrees to it because it's Daryl Morey. And then the deal gets done by no later than next week. That's my vision for a James Harden, Daryl Morey 4th of July weekend. So thank you to the texter who has the same vision that I do. Also, shout out to Johnny G over there in Ocean City who texted in at 609-403-0973. Johnny basically laid out what his weekend is going to be. He says that he's stuck in Ocean City. He's going to be hanging out at the beach while he's trying to avoid all the people on the bicycles, all the people walking around town, and the bad drivers who don't know where they're going. That was my addition to what Johnny didn't say they were a bad driver, don't know where they're going, but I said that. Look, you know how many times when I lived in Ocean City, because where I worked was in the summer, to ride my bicycle from where I lived to where I worked, I would have been drenched in sweat in the middle of a 90-degree summer day. So I had to drive from one end of the island to the other at one point. And I remember how many times I'm driving through Ocean City and just people had no idea where they're going. They're stopping and going. They're stopping for people who are not even crossing the street. They don't even know when people are crossing the street. I mean, it was just an absolute disaster. So I'm with you on the bad drivers. I don't mind the walkers as much because a lot of people, they walk from like Bay Avenue all the way to the beach. They got to get across the street at some point. I don't mind the walkers too much. People on the bikes, listen, big suggestion. Stay on the bike path. Please. And by the way, if you see a turtle, don't get in a car accident over it. I don't know if you guys saw, it's on our website. It's at 973ESPN.com. I saw the story the other day. These people stopped for a turtle crossing the street, and they got rear-ended. You try to save the turtle, you get your car banged up. That's a bad job by the other guy. The other guy's got to chill out. Get off your phone. Don't text and drive. Be safe this weekend. You see a turtle, don't run it over. Don't drink and drive. Take an Uber. I'm Josh Hennig. Have a great weekend, everybody. I'll catch you later.
Wake up with Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max. Weekday mornings at 6 on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
This is going to be the year that we're going to start talking about James Harden a little bit differently about how he is becoming one of the leaders of this team. And it starts with him turning down the option to opt into his deal.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max. Listen weekday mornings at 6 on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.